What's up, Level Uppers? It's Larry, and this is Level Up Larry's Going Green, Episode 5, Green Server Impressions. The grind is defined in classic EverQuest. Sleepless nights, mindless grinding, and an overall impressive amount of cracking out has been the life of many since the launch of Project 1999's Green and Teal servers. Hundreds upon hundreds of adventurers making their return to Norath, all starting off with nothing but a candle and other new character essentials, hoping to achieve whatever goals and ambitions they have had with this fresh new server. Even though we are a little over a month into launch, there has been a ton that has happened within that limited time. I wanted to share some of my own personal impressions, along with giving an overview of what the state of the server is looking like and feeling like at this point in time. Something that may have been overlooked or forgotten by this point because it was so flawless in its execution was Project 1999 team's preparedness to deliver a virtually perfect launch. No login server issues, no sporadic disconnects, no lag. Adventurers could simply just log in and focus on actually playing the game. And with upwards of 3,000 people logged in during the first day of launch, I can imagine that was an easy feat to do. Things have been smooth sailing since then. There are two categories that I'll talk about in this episode, the leveling curve and the list system. First, let's talk about the leveling curve. With almost every MMO, there is some form of level bell curve that could drastically impact your overall content experience. Jump ahead of the curve early and you'll find yourself with a ton of uncontested content options. Lag behind it enough and you find yourself catching the tail end of a mass rush, also allowing you to enjoy a slightly quieter leveling environment. The issue with classic EverQuest is that much of the content simply wasn't designed to handle an increased population of refined modern-day MMO players. The result of that has led to a severe shortage of positive experience-generating content for most players sitting smack dab in the middle of the curve. The Project 1999 team did attempt to accommodate for this on launch day by increasing general mob respawn times in starting areas by about 80%. In some cases and areas, this helped immensely, but in non-starting zone areas, it was very much still a challenge to generate consistent experience, and it still is for some people. As the average of the curve progresses, the same issues persist, but just in different zones, which ultimately prompted the public vote and eventual addition of opening a new complementary server, Teal server, to help alleviate some of the stressors and pressures of low mob density. Several new and existing players took advantage of the ability to start or transfer over to this new server. At the time of recording this video, the green to teal population split seems to be about 60-40, with teal seemingly growing at a healthy rate in favor of lower levels. The in-game logic around this is mostly understood to offset the population loads during the short term, but to merge the servers back together over the long term. There's no specific timing on this, and it's believable that if both servers manage to thrive and retain a healthy population, they could remain separated for an extended period of time. Let's talk about the list system. The announcement of the list system gave hope to many adventurers that they would be able to achieve some of those highly sought-out legacy items. The system itself aims to control and provide a fair chance to all players for acquiring certain legacy items, such as the Mana Stone, Journeyman's Boots, Guise of the Deceiver, and Rubicite Breastplate. To provide some additional general mechanical detail, the list command is tied around a certain distance radius around the respective legacy item camp. You aren't completely constrained to this radius and can move in and out of it whenever you'd like. Whenever you're outside of it, a 15-minute decay timer will kick in. If you manage to stay out of the radius for that entire time, you will lose your spot in the list. However, whenever you return to the radius, you'll be able to replenish some of that time back at a decreased rate. I've had personal experience with both the Guise of the Deceiver and Journeyman Boots lists. Here's my experience particularly with the J-Boots camp. Upon arriving to the camp, I typed /list and was given my place in line, which at the time was number 4. There's no way through commands to see who else is on the list, the duration that others have been on the list, or really any other informational detail around the makeup of the list. your time on the list, there will be two different types of anti-AFK measures that will sporadically pop up at very random times. One will simply be to click OK, confirming that you are present at your PC. The other will actually have you type out a random list command. I found very little consistency with the frequency of these prompts, but it almost seemed like the longer I was at a camp, the less frequently they would pop up. But to be clear, that was just my perception of the situation, and it was all probably just a product of the RNG behavior. Also, it seems like you may have about 5 minutes to click the prompt. If you miss a prompt 2 times, it will kick you off the list. As far as personal experience, I did camp both Guise of the Deceiver and Journeyman Boots. Experience with the J-Boots camp worked a little something like this. Upon arriving at the camp, I typed /list and was given my place in line, which was number 4. At this point in time, there's no way through commands to see who else is on the list, the duration that others have been on the list, or really any other informational details other than your own place on the list. After a few hours of PH and Drelsna spawns without any boots, we did eventually get some to drop. For those on the list, once the item drops, everybody will be notified in chat about the item dropping and your new place in the line. Oddly enough, I did not notice this same notification with the Guise of the Deceiver camp, so I don't know if it was just a J-Boots thing or I just simply overlooked it. We'll call it an isolated issue. Overall, I feel that the system itself works well, but the realization that I had very early into my list camps was that you are very clearly at the mercy of RNG, your personal endurance, and a very likely heavy time commitment to see if you can wait it out long enough to get your item. Hearing list camp horror stories about unlucky adventurers spending dozens upon dozens of hours and still not acquiring their legacy item is something that could easily intimidate more casual players. And while all of these items are absolutely optional, the overall experience could still come off as being a bit of a turnoff for some people in the community. Love it or hate it, it's how legacy item camps work on green and teal servers. As a reminder, you do have until May of 2020 to schedule some time to hopefully acquire some of these items. From my own personal and humble opinion, the Project 1999 team has once again delivered on its vision to provide the closest classic EverQuest experience out there. If you've been on the fence about jumping over, wait no longer. Come and join the thousands of other adventurers currently enjoying the fun, exciting, and unforgiving world of Norath. It's been a true delight to get to experience this once again, and I look forward to the many adventures that are still to come. As a friendly reminder, we would love to have you as part of the Level Up community on Twitch, where you can follow along with my adventures in Norath in real time every Sunday, Tuesday, and Thursday starting at 8:30 p.m. Central. Also, feel free to join the community over on Discord for any questions that you may have. As always, thank you for your time investment here, and I look forward to seeing you all soon. Level Up Hype!